And the next thing we'll do here is go over some properties that you can change. Just note that certain elements that are provided here in the scribe you can definitely mess with. For example, one thing is the animation time, or we call draw time here, particular elements. You can have a star here drawn out in 0.5 seconds, or you can have it take its time at 3 seconds. What does this look like? We'll show you right here. So depending on, how fast and slow you want things, you can definitely change that, or you can easily change that just by clicking on the properties of the element and changing the animation time. You also have the option of changing the pause and transition time. This will either speed things up or slow things down within your scribe. So be mindful of that. And then you also have the option of changing the orientation of particular images. And I found this to be very helpful when creating certain scenes where you want certain images or characters in your VideoScribe to have conversations with each other. For example, if you're creating a scribe with a doctor and a patient, you'll want them looking at each other, not necessarily looking in opposite directions. And what does this mean? So what we would do is we would change this young woman right here to be looking the other way. And so you can sort of have a conversation where they're both looking at each other like this. But the orientation of this particular image can change by selecting this image right over here. You can reflect her mirror image, or you can just flip her upside down and like so. So there's so many different ways that you can have her displayed here on the scribe. So use that to your advantage. And then the next thing we'll discuss here in terms of properties of your scribe is the timeline order. You'll want to be mindful of when you're adding content to your scribe of where it appears in your timeline, because that is how it'll appear in the actual video once it's complete. So for example, if I wanted to add, let's see here, let's go to the image bank here. I have my timeline selected, be mindful of that. If I want to, for example, add a red circle, that red circle, because it immediately follows the arrow, will appear after that arrow is drawn out in my scribe. But if it was not selected, let me delete this right now. Okay, if that was not the case and I didn't have anything selected, right now I have nothing selected here in my timeline, and I want to create and I want to add the circle here to this changing properties of elements in your scribe, it's been added to the very end of my timeline. And what that means is that this animation, this image here, won't play until the very end of my video scribe, even though we see it right here in the changing properties of elements in your scribe. So be mindful of that. So if I want that circle to appear immediately after this arrow, you will want to, let's delete this first. You'll want to select that arrow there. We'll then select our image, upload that into your canvas, and there it goes. This means that this circle will play immediately after this arrow is drawn out. So be mindful of that when adding new content to your scribe.